It's James. James? What are we doing? We're recording a podcast. Okay, I'm inside the facility. Do you have your cardboard box? Oh, yeah, dude.
3, 2, 1, backlog.
Yeah, I don't think I want kids, dude. I really don't.
It's a real fun bit, dude.
Yeah, it sounds like you're having a blast, dude.
Yeah. Anyway, how have you been?
Well, I'm sick, which is crazy.
Which is great for what we're talking about today.
Yeah. We're going to talk about Metal Gear Solid, and I think the last time we talked about a Kojima game, I was sick, too.
Yeah.
So, it was a while ago, actually.
It was. That was what Death Stranding was the only other one, right?
Yep. And hopefully it's the last one ever.
Oh no.
Oh, I'm just joking. I don't think you and we'll see. I feel like you probably didn't enjoy this game that much, but
so okay.
You want to jump into it?
I don't want to jump into it yet because I just want to catch up if you've got the time for me.
Catch up, dude.
I'll have some stuff to say about it. I don't think they're as negative as you think they're going to be.
Hopefully not. But, I mean, it's your favorite director.
Yeah, but something I am curious about. I don't know where you want to put it in the record, but I want to flesh out a little like episode concept. So I've been throwing out some invites on the little draft thing I talked about, but then you had another idea.
So explain the draft to me because I don't know if I fully understand what you want to do.
I don't do the sports ball, so I have to do this from outside eyes from the sports industry. But like when there's a draft every year, teams will say, I want to draft this player, right?
Yeah.
Once they draft a player, that player can't be used by any other team during this set, right? Okay, so keep that in mind. So basically they take a player. In our version, it's going to be we take a game, nobody else can use it. So what I want to do is get some guests on the podcast, and we'll pick like the Xbox 360, okay, as our console of choice. And we're going to decide who goes first and all that. And then, okay, so person one says, I'm going to pick, these are going to be wrong, so I don't influence anything we do later. I'm going to pick Pokemon Yellow. And that's, if that was a 360 game, we're going to pretend it is for this example. I'm going to choose the game that was well received on the Xbox 360. I'm going to take out Pokemon Yellow. That's my first pick. Okay, my first draft. Nobody else can pick that for the road. So if we get into it, like so if somebody picks out like one of the Halos that was super big, nobody else can pick that. Okay, and we go in line, right, until we each have like, I don't know, 4 or 5 games. Right. And then at the end of it, we're going to say, okay, here's my draft. Who's got the best team or list of games for like a Saturday night or whatever?
Okay.
Right. So you follow me now?
A little bit.
But you know, if you go and you make out your list ahead of time of like, okay, these are the games I want to get on my list. Yeah. But then
shit happens.
But then I pick one of the games that you were having. You can't pick that game anymore. Well, so you got to be prepared.
Maybe we can make a trade.
That I haven't gone that far yet.
That sounds like a draft thing to do. Yeah.
So that's kind of the initial thing. I thought about maybe trying to get like a neutral or like another person that wouldn't do the draft bit, but would be like a judge or something,
right?
To maybe vote on like, okay, well, I think this is the best. This what James had the best draft this round, so he won. Yeah. Or if we did like a poll online or something, I don't know. That I'd like to keep everything contained in one episode.
Okay,
but I don't know how to do that. So
we can have a neutral party to pick who had the best draft.
I think that would be good, but again, that's also going to be you know, I invited a few people, but if they, like their taste could influence it, like if somebody goes and picks however many Assassin's Creeds and I was the judge, I would think theirs was the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know how to manage that one.
That dude, just 360 in general is a humongous console. There's so many games on there. Yeah. Okay. And then I had an idea that's more of a teamwork kind of version of that. Like there's these classic consoles coming out. That was a tongue twister. There's these like classic, retro consoles, the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, probably a Sega one. But I saw a video of a guy that did one for the Wii, and you pick 20 games that represent the console the best. Right. You have a discussion. So something like the 360, obviously, I would think Halo, probably Assassin's Creed. But at some point you're going to have to get rid of them. And then I don't know. The Kinect was a big thing with the 360, sadly.
Yeah.
So that, you would want to be able to represent that, I guess, too. But yeah, I don't know. It's more of a teamwork version of that.
Right.
Narrow it down to 20 games that represent the console.
That's a good one.
Thanks. I didn't come up with it.
So yeah, I want to get something together. I've got a bunch of not a bunch. I've got like 3 invites out, and everybody so far has been like, "Yeah, I'll come on the show. That sounds fun." So, but I'm actually kind of excited.
Cool.
So okay, cool. All right, let's get into it. Welcome back to 321 Backlog, the podcast where we sit down and play games from our backlog and then talk about them. My name is Alec, and I'm joined by my pal James.
COVID James, how we doing?
COVID James, we're sick again. Oh, dude, you feeling okay?
I feel pretty good. Yeah, I just woke up, so at some point, like 2 hours, 3 hours from now, I'm gonna start to fucking tank. But
so we're getting you now. So our next episode record might be a little strained.
I'm just sleeping the whole time. Yeah.
It's gonna be a Death Stranding episode 3.
Man, I really was asleep for that.
That's okay.
All right, so
what are we talking about?
We're talking about Metal Gear Solid.
I was going to say so fun, and then I had to stop myself. So, my goodness.
Such a game. Definitely a game.
It's such a game. I've got some things to say about it. I'm glad I'm ticking it off of my list of content to consume.
All right.
So I'll say that much. So
I don't even know what that means, dude.
I'm gonna get into it. What was your history with Solid Snake and with Kojima, with Metal Gear?
Metal Gear? Okay,
with Konami. Tell me.
Yeah, so I played this game when it came out, rented it as a child, enjoyed it a lot as a rental. I want to say I got it for like Christmas the year after I had rented it, like 6 months later or whatever.
Yeah.
And played it a lot. Like I used to almost speed run the game. And so I would skip all the cutscenes and just get through to the end of it. And the game encourages multiple playthroughs too. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I would say it's funny. It's funny you said you skipped cutscenes because like while they were long, that was probably the thing I enjoyed the most about it.
Yeah, dude. Oh. Man.
So anyway, sorry.
I'm glad to hear that.
I had no idea what was happening, but
really?
Are you kidding me? Yeah, okay. It's jumping so far ahead. I should have taken like a jeans counter. How many times Liquid said the word jeans?
Okay.
When him and Snake were fighting?
Yeah.
I swear it was in the hundreds. Like, just from a story and dialogue standpoint, what the fuck was happening, bro? Like, it was just insane.
So I think
like a fun insane, but it was insane.
I think he is a lot of his he has like a lot of the recessive traits.
Or does he?
Well, yeah, but I think they're the same. Like they have the same. They're clones, right?
Right.
But I think that Liquid has a lot of the like recessive traits, so he's probably a little bit obsessed with that.
Yeah,
because he's like got like he feels inferior.
Oh yeah, No, I know what what they were going for, but like the dialogue choices for it, it was just like,
oh yeah.
it's
Well,
like
dude, it was
somebody,
30
it's like
years
somebody
ago.
told whoever wrote the script. I'll just say it was Hideo. It's like, Hideo, have you heard of this word jeans? And then he's like, cool, I've never heard of it. I'm going to use it 100 times today.
I got all of the recessive genes.
Anyway, sorry. So you rented that as a kid. Now this was in 1998
denim
when it came out.
Come on. Yeah. Dungarees.
Dungarees, man. I got recessive dungarees.
Levi's.
Oh man.
So Hideo Kojima
Yep.
brought us the masterpiece that is Death Stranding, right?
Yes.
Single player game, action, stealth, depending on how you want to play it. We'll get into that a little bit. Rated M for mature, back when ratings mattered. 9.8 on IGN out of 10, and Metacritic at a 94. How do you feel about that? You got to think about the time when this came out.
I definitely got to think about the time. And that's something I'm noticing about myself when we go back and play these older games.
Yeah.
Because so far, if we go back and play a game that's like, I'd say before 2010,
right,
and I had never played it before, I end up enjoying it a lot less than I think I feel like I should. Because it was something I missed out of, that if I had played when it had come out or years and years ago, for a multitude of reasons. One being, like, if I had more patience and more time, I probably would have enjoyed these a lot more. But then I'm having to combat like emulation of an older system where stuff isn't controlled just right. Things aren't as responsive or polished as what I've been used to. Citing like God of War and Spider-Man, for example.
Well, yeah.
That are just phenomenal games. So it's hard. I'm realizing I'm becoming really harsh in how I go at these games or how I perceive these games because they're from a different time. And it's something I'm trying to be better at, but I had a rough time playing this game.
So I don't think any of it had anything to do with emulation, to be honest. I feel like games run, for the most part, better emulated. Well, I think this game just suffers a little bit from the game itself.
No, true. But what I mean by emulation is you like doing the thing I'm about to describe, and I don't. How I perceive it is you like to tinker at stuff, like with your Steam Deck, right? I feel like if it's frustrating to you, you don't let on. But I feel like you don't mind going and spending, 20 minutes just to set up the possibility to play an old game versus I just want to click download and then play the damn game. Or if I would have rather bought a PS1, a CRT television, all the cables, the controller, and hooked it up and played that than try to deal with the emulation version because stuff doesn't get mapped right. I don't have 100 controllers behind me to pull from on like, oh, this one matches and all this stuff. Like, I happen to have a PS4 controller, but I don't want to go through the extra hoops to play a game. I want to have everything that was supposed to be set up to play this game in its original form and just play that.
Right.
I have no problem with the legal issues or anything with emulation. I think it's an awesome tool to be able to play these games. I just don't prefer it over native hardware. And I don't like the extra hoops to go through to play a game. That's just me. So that's where I was with emulation. I just want to sit down and play it.
So I think if just to counteract that, just to tear you down a little bit, if you think about if you have it all set up working, it's a lot easier if you have it set up and just running. Drag and drop a game into a folder and you're done. That's all you have to do. If you already have it mapped one time, it should be mapped for the future. So I get it, but it also, there is an appeal to using everything the way that it was meant to be played. The game will look the way it was meant to look on a CRT TV, everything like that. So
I want as little resistance to get to the thing I want to do. That's what I want. So
it's odd to me that you would say as little resistance would include buying a CRT TV and AV cables.
That's just me throwing money at my problem.
Yeah, that sounds like resistance.
That's all that is. Well, all right, touche. So, but that's the thing. Like we talked about playing a 360 game. I had the physical disc, and it has now somehow lost itself. I'm still figuring out what happened to it.
I still have my emulation files.
All right.
You motherfucker.
That one I have set up to all I need to do. I have an Xbox One that's back compatible, and I tested the damn disc. It's back compatible. All I gotta do is plug it in and change the TV input. That's the only bit of resistance I want to do. I don't want to be like, oh, did I set up this emulation folder and file 6 months ago on my Steam Deck? And is it updated? Blah, blah, blah. I just do all this. I just want to be like, hey, I didn't forget to do a thing or have a file set up. I can just play.
Right.
Again, I think emulation is an amazing tool to have for like archival games and like, oh, people maybe
in a lot of
felt
ways,
like they
it's
missed
the
out.
only tool to have for that. Because companies don't make their stuff accessible.
Yes, and that's a whole other topic.
That's a whole podcast right there.
I don't want to say I don't want emulation to exist. It's just like when I just want to relax and sit down for a game, I don't want to have to deal with it. Is all I'm saying. Where did we get off track here? I apologize.
I don't know, dude.
I feel
Welcome
like
back to Metal Gear.
I feel like that was my ranting. But anywho, so
what's your history with this franchise?
My history actually, to get myself to stop talking, but I'm going to continue, is I remember vividly enough to remember it. I believe I would just watch you play this game.
Yeah, probably when I would speed run through it.
Yeah.
If the story isn't remotely familiar to you, then that's the reason.
I remember bits and pieces. Like I remember at one point looking over your shoulder while you were going through like the outdoor cave that had wolves.
Yeah.
Right before you fought the one chick with the jacket.
That was her name.
Yeah, the chick with the jacket. So, I don't remember any fucking names except Naomi, because we I don't know how it's going to turn out, but we were going to do a bit, and I was going to call you Jaomi, like while we did the codec, like the codec with the Jaomi, Jaomi. We're recording codec. Bloop 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 bloop. Colonel.
And you were going to be.
Why do you spell it that way?
Colonel.
Oh my goodness!
So I picked this game because I wanted you to play it. I wanted
you got to stop doing that.
Well, I wanted to also, I did too. I wanted to see how it held up because I have pretty fond memories of this game when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Those are altered now a little bit, but I wanted to see how it held up graphically and gameplay wise and stuff because I feel like this game was way ahead of its time as far as gameplay goes. I mean, think back to like what else was coming out at this time. If there were any other games like this, just the sheer size of this game was crazy. But
yeah, it was because 1998 we were like in Pokemon times.
Dude, we were 10 years old, right? Like 10
Yeah.
years old. Think about that.
Yeah, very true.
Yep. So as anybody has gathered, Alec played this one on the Steam Deck emulation. I did as well. I have a legitimate copy of it because I'm not a piece of shit. But I'm not hooking up my system to play it. I actually have multiple copies, so I would just say I lent one to Alec.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I have a copy on PS1. I've got the PlayStation 3 remasters as well. So yeah, okay. So graphics and art, what do you think?
Fuck me, dude. So,
Really?
I mean, okay, and again, what I mentioned earlier is I think I'm being more harsh after coming off of games like in the PS5, Xbox Series X and S era.
Yeah.
Right? It's real hard to go back and look at some of these, especially when I'm really bad at putting myself with like, oh, okay, it was in this time frame with this game and this game. I didn't look any of this up, so why would I have that off the top of my head? But it was, I mean, could cylinders not be made? Only fucking tubes, like square tubes.
Yeah.
That's just, they were good at shading. I mean, Meryl got the whole like Laura Croft boob situation, but they shaded it just right to give her,
So character models are always tough. They're always the worst part
Yeah.
of any game. Even now, they don't look as good as the rest of the game does.
True.
But the environments of this game, right? Like, the
maps and environment was much better, leaps and bounds better than the character models. There was
6 years ago, dude.
Yeah. Oh God.
Somehow that sounds like longer
my
than
back hurts.
30. Yeah, I'm looking up specifically one area I wanted to share with you. So you played this on handheld only, or did you play it on the TV?
Handheld.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm eating.
That's all right. Yeah. I played it on the TV and a little bit on handheld, but the majority of it I played it in 2 sittings. You know, I've got experience with the game.
Good
But,
God.
well, I mean, dude, I can run right through it. I could tell the story. I know quotes. I'm sending a picture right now. This environment, dude, was so good. This is the Vulcan Raven fight, the second one where he's chasing you with a minigun.
Right.
It just looked so good, dude. It captured, like, you can feel that it's cold there.
Yeah.
The bullet holes all over everything that you would expect to see from a guy shooting a minigun everywhere at shipping containers. It just was, I mean, this is a pretty bland area, but like this game has such a like cold, depressing Alaska feel to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's important, I think. But
no, it was that was definitely one of the trying to decide it was it a memorable fight compared to the rest of them. I guess it was. I think
they're all pretty memorable, and that's one of the things that makes it good.
They were all fairly unique from each other, which was nice.
Yeah. For one reason or another, they were all very memorable.
Mm-hmm.
Psycho Mantis being like, you know, the weird fourth wall breaks.
That I think was my favorite.
So the character models were bad, but at the same time, I feel like they were good enough. You know, they didn't try to make the characters' mouths move. They just moved their heads to signify that they were talking. And they were very polygon heavy, but what wasn't at that time. And if you take the character and they zoom out and it's in the playing field, they look amazing because they're zoomed out a little bit and you're not
right. They do look a lot better. Right.
They look like, dude, I mean, when I was a kid, it was real life, you know?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, I get you put oof as the graphics and art, and I understand why. What did you think about sound quality? I mean,
so I will say real quick, the when you were in the codec, it gave more detailed representations of your characters. Those were great. So they had actual artists behind these, and I'm sure the cover art, the box art was really good. I didn't look at it, but I can only assume it was decent. But it was just translating that to that older hardware was where it just kind of showed its age in this case. Sound quality, it was fine. I got the same, you know, just burst of anxiety every time you heard yourself getting spotted.
Yes, dude. Yeah. Yep.
Insert right here. Like that just sends a fucking chill down your spine.
Yeah,
dude.
if you're falling asleep, welcome back.
Oh my god. Okay, so for those who don't know, Solid Snake either has or is just about to be added into Fortnite.
I didn't know that.
And you can emote, and I believe it puts a red exclamation point above his head, and it plays that sound.
That's pretty cool.
And
I love crossovers like that.
My son, we were looking at the Fortnite store, and he saw it, and he goes, "Oh, that makes the sound from YouTube."
Oh,
like,
no.
YouTubers and stuff will use that exclamation point sound for just random sound effects because they're playing off of people of our generation that know what that's from. But now his generation is hearing it, just thinking it's a random sound effect. He has no concept for what that is. I was like, James is going to love this. But, oh my goodness, dude.
Put him down.
Put him down. Put him down. He's done. Okay. Jesus.
So but the sound quality overall was good, right?
I think the quality was fine. It was there was nothing glaring that was like, oh, this sucks, or like, oh man, that's really good. I mean, I think it was on par with everything else. I don't have anything negative or amazing to say about it. It was
something negative about the voice acting for me, please.
The voice acting, I think it was, what's the term? Campy?
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Cheesy.
I don't know why it's called campy. Why is it called campy? Campy dialogue. I'm going to look this up right now. Campy, camp is a style of production and performance where everything is over the top and theatrical, often but not always in a self-conscious way. All right. That's just one Reddit comment. I don't know if that's accurate. So it was, my God.
So I don't even know if campy is the correct terminology for it. But
it might not be.
Yeah,
but it was.
I feel like it hokey.
So
yeah. It was written very strangely, I guess. It was. And dude, it's crazy because I think when I was a kid, I didn't realize how corny it was.
How corny and horny. I'm gonna put a clip.
I'm gonna put a
clip right here for like snakes. Like the moment you playing a snake talk to any female character, He says this.
Nice to meet you, Snake. It's an honor to speak to a living legend like yourself. What's wrong?
Nothing. I just didn't expect a world-class designer of military technology to be so cute.
You're just flattering me.
Horny, corny games for horny, corny James, dude.
It was so ridiculous. It's like in
yeah.
the first 2 minutes of the game, dude.
This game
like
taught me everything I know
immediately.
about how to talk to women, dude. Okay, don't bash it. All right.
Oh my man.
It's weird. Again,
crazy.
I don't think I noticed any of that when I was a kid, but I was 10 years old when this game came out, which is kind of crazy.
Very true. I feel like the dialogue definitely did not age well.
No.
This day and age.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's so sexist and shit.
Put that
too.
in,
Yeah.
oh my god, it would just boycott it for days. It would just go away. It's crazy. I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but it wouldn't be able to last in 2024.
Yeah. It's funny because every female in the game is like immediately attracted to Snake too. Like you got main character energy all day, bro.
Oh man. So yeah, the voice acting, I think I say this every time. The people that were in the booths were fine.
That guy is like a legend, dude. David Hayter.
Yeah.
He's like he's done Snake for every game and even like Big Boss and the other ones. So yeah, I don't know. The voice acting is good. The writing is odd. We'll just say that. The
writing was fucking insane.
Yeah, and maybe, dude, it is a Japanese game, I guess. So maybe that is a big thing. You know, I feel like the way people talk in anime is not the way we talk at all at work. So maybe there's something with that. But
I feel like I've seen voice actors talk about this, where it's like they I don't know how they translate it over, but I think a lot of stuff it's in the translation where, and I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm thinking that I remember hearing something of someone being interviewed. I could be completely wrong. So, but I think it's like when it's during the translation from Japanese to English, like sentence structures don't match up, and then they don't go through the process of like, oh, let's go ahead and change that around and make it make sense. But then also you're going to do a dub and you've got to match the cadence of this person. That's
probably a big part of it.
That's moving their mouth at that time. So they need to fit it within that amount of space.
Yeah.
Of when the character's model is moving. And I think that's part of it. You know, there was, did you play any of Ghost of Tsushima?
No.
Yeah. So there was a game mode where you could play with it's some director that would do like the old Japanese samurai movies with like black and white and splashes of red and everything's in Japanese, of course. It was a very specific style. Anyway, you could play the entire game in that style and all the dialogue would be in Japanese or where were they? I think they were in Japan. In Japanese with English subtitles, right? But they didn't make the character models change from English to Japanese. So you had Japanese dialogue, English subtitles, but then the mouths on the models were speaking English. So like,
I see that in a lot of games in general. But
anyway. All right, back to Kojima 101 mechanics, and I've got two that I want to talk about. The rest of the game, I think once you get down like the shooting and how that functions, I think it's fine. Do I think it's the best? No. I think it probably got improved throughout the series once like controls got standardized. Yes. But this was in the early days of like they don't quite know how to really do shooters. Resident Evil had the same issue with like tank controls. It's like they don't really know what they're doing yet because we don't have 100 different shooter games to pull from. But now everything's kind of been standardized. Yeah. So this is like early days. It's not quite there yet. So I think that
actually is a really good comparison to bring up other games at the time and how they played. Tank controls on Resident Evil 2 or 3 in comparison to the way this game plays is fucking crazy. That this game doesn't play so stiff.
Right. There was a lot of fluidity in your movements. I didn't like the static camera position and how it would change when you would go into like different rooms or different areas. So like you go into like a broom closet and then the camera changes for a second and then doesn't move while you move around, and then you go out into a bigger area and then the camera follows you. I didn't like those cuts.
Right, yeah.
It was, in most situations it was fine, but when combat was involved in any capacity, I didn't like that. And not like, oh, it's forced combat. I'm saying like, I didn't know that guard was there. Oops, now I'm fucked. And the camera angle would throw me off.
Yeah, well, you have the radar too, but...
Yeah, which also, I wanted to call that out as well. I think I looked at the radar more than the actual playfield for most of the time I was moving around.
Higher difficulties, you can turn the radar
off.
off.
That sounds fucking terrible.
Yeah,
Ooh.
It does.
Okay.
But it makes sense. Okay, well, the only thing I have for gameplay mechanics, the setting was really good. I know that's not really necessarily gameplay, but I feel like we don't have a place to put that usually, the setting of the game. I thought graphically, I thought it looked really good. I thought it played really well considering. There was the issue, like you even texted me about, like, can you not choke people out in this game? So it's weird. You have to like grab them first and hold them and then do it. But if you just try and do it, you like quickly you end up flipping them every time. So yeah, there were some weird things, but that's also a limitation. In newer games, like there's pressure sensitive buttons, I think, in the newer games, so that you don't always end up killing them. But no, that's definitely true. I didn't choke a single person out. I always flipped them by accident, and I tried over and over and over again, and then I just gave up. So you have to not be moving. You have to actually let go of the joystick and then hold square and then hit square a bunch of times to actually do the neck break.
Well, so the last thing in mechanics I want to talk about is more of like kind of like a fourth wall break kind of thing.
A lot of that. Yeah.
One, loved this thing and I want to see it more. So in the Psycho Mantis fight, you had to do a controller swap, and there was a controller swap, but there was also, I'll explain that better in a moment. But there was a moment where he was showing off, this enemy was showing off his psychic powers. So he told you to put your controller down, and he was going to make it move because he was going to enable the vibration. Right. That is so amazing. And I'm thinking about this from the lens of a 10-year-old kid was when I would have been playing this.
Yep.
That's like crazy.
Okay, so I want to piggy off that a little bit. Remember in your game, I guarantee you, he said your memory is clean. He says that.
Right, okay.
So what he's doing is reading your memory card. But your memory card is clean. About that. But he'll tell you shit like, I see you've been playing Jack and Daxter or something like that. Or like he'll say like you don't save often or you do save often. But yeah, he's reading your memory card and he'll tell you other games you've played.
That's so cool. That would be such an easy thing nowadays. Yeah. As I say that, I could see people saying that's like a breach of privacy and all that shenanigans. I probably, you've been playing Splash Girls 12, like.
Oh, God. Well, they would, so in this game, they would have had to do voice lines. So it was only certain games that he would bring up. But now you could easily have like an AI just read it off to you, and you wouldn't know it wasn't a person.
True.
Unless you knew. But yeah, it was cool. I liked that. And then also in the Mantis fight, like how it makes it look like you went to the wrong video input.
Yes,
but it says Hideo, not video. Yeah. Shit like that. I don't know. It's clever. They do a lot more of that in the second game. Like it really, like we will play it because that game I think is a much better game. And I think it holds up 10 out of 10. But the second game, it starts to fall apart while you're playing it, literally. Like, it's and it gets pretty crazy. But, there's some really cool shit that's a very Hideo Kojima thing to do.
And the last thing, in the same vein, it was, I forget what the story context was, but I think it was Naomi or one of the gaggle of women that were around Snake in an audio sense was they set up like an injection for him to give himself. So they instructed the player to put the controller to their arm so it would vibrate to simulate him getting a shot or something. Which again, the same like fourth wall break to put you like to literally make the player, a bunch of 10-year-olds in our case, be the player of the game, be the character of the game, and we can like literally be involved with it in a physical sense. And I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, now there's so much more to try to immerse you in a game. We're not even gonna have to get into VR, but yeah like the vibration is a big thing. Like the game will, I know in some games, like if something's walking, the controller vibrates like the way Jurassic Park does, there's a lot to, but back then that's how they would do it.
I just thought that was really cool.
Oh, I'm glad you thought so, because I know that's pretty lame. But I'm glad it was cool, like to see it
nowadays,
through those lenses.
It could be considered a little lame, but I mean, if done right, I think it'll be okay. But this was structured. They were saying like, oh, we can send vibration inputs to our controllers. What about this? And
dude, this is
and
cool
they were thinking outside of the box in a sense, and outside literally outside of the game. And thinking, how can we immerse this player with the tech we already have? That's great. The fight with the gun guy that had the best revolver or whatever. The guy you were saving couldn't remember the codec frequency of someone. I forget who. And he was like, "Oh, I forgot. It's it's on the CD." There was a
yeah. How did you get that?
You can Google it
then. Okay, so but you understand it was actually on the back
I think
of the
I think
game
I've heard
case.
of that before. If I didn't, like other podcasts or something, so I think if I hadn't heard that,
I had her frequency memorized still.
But that's
it's 140.15.
That I think is another thing that's going to go away, like a fully is.
Yeah, well, dude, imagine how fucked up that would be. I don't remember how I figured it out. I remember struggling with it. First of all, I didn't even have the CD case when I first played this game. I rented it.
Exactly, yeah.
And there was no internet, right? Like there wasn't internet, Googling, whatever. But you have a CD. He gives you like a disc before that. And I remember like looking at it, opening it over and over again and being like, what the fuck? Why won't this, like, how do I get her codec? I think I spent like 2 hours like running. Maybe not, but there's some way. I think maybe she ends up calling you eventually.
Right. But anyway, while you look it up, they were taking what resources they already had for other parts of just gaming in general. They took the logistics of getting this game physically to people's hands through disc distribution. It was like, oh, we can use that too for the playing experience.
Yeah.
That I don't think. I wouldn't say it hasn't happened since then, but I think from like this point on, I would be flabbergasted to see somebody do that in 2024 and on. No one's going to do that. We're not going to get physical stuff anymore. But it's just that was such a genius thing to do to just get you in the game.
Dude,
I love it.
So in the newer games, her frequency's on a cardboard box in the game because they don't have the same CD case.
Funny,
like the remakes of it. But that disc, so this must be it. I guess if you have the disc that the guy gives you and you equip it and call the colonel, he'll like tell you, I think. Oh, wow. Yeah, so it just adds her in if you do that. If you equip the disc he gives you, call the colonel one time, it automatically adds her frequency. Nice. So that must have been how I did it back in the day. Weird shit. No, I don't know.
It's so cool.
It's cool too because the little short that I just watched actually shows what the CD case looks like, and it just says Meryl ... with her frequency and her face. So it's like blatantly put there to like be that. That's cool. Game cases and books and stuff used to have so much more than they do now. Yeah. So yeah, we talked about that. The Ocelot fight. He's a huge, like he is like the villain of the series.
The gun guy.
What do you? What do you think?
Weird fucking names.
So when I was a kid, I really liked that type of gun.
A revolver?
Like not necessarily. Yeah, the revolver. Yeah. I don't know. Some of the stuff he says about how it's it's a true, like a real gun, I don't know. It's really the worst gun to use.
Yeah.
Like the only way you can kill him is because he stops to reload because it takes so long.
Clearly a flaw.
And I don't know.
Clearly a flaw in his plan. is using the only 6 bullets at a time.
Yeah. Well, if we ever play Snake Eater, the one that takes place when that guy is a kid, Ocelot is a kid, it is kind of cool to see his origin story about how he becomes obsessed with that gun.
Okay.
Because he has it and he's not good with it, and he meets Big Boss, who is like the guy that everybody's cloned to be, and he teaches him how to be better with it.
Nice.
So it's kind of interesting.
So one thing I'll say, and I need your confirmation or your help, is for a lot of these characters, the bad guys in particular, were these carryover characters from earlier games in the franchise? Because the Metal Gear Solid is the first Metal Gear Solid game, but there were other games like in Nintendo.
Metal Gear 2, I think the main antagonist is Gray Fox. Okay.
So some and or all or some of these characters were callbacks to other games.
Yeah. Some of them.
Because that definitely felt like so many. Okay, I have so many thoughts I want to get through, and it's just too much. One, how many bad guys did we have to deal with? We had Ocelot, Gray Fox, Raven Man, times 2. We had
Sniper Tits, times 2,
and your Liquid. That's 5. I feel like there was more.
Well, 2 of them you fight twice.
So it's 5 people over 6 times.
Gray Fox, Sniper, Raven, Ocelot, Liquid. That's 5. But then you fight 2 of them twice.
Okay. So 7.
Well, and then Hind D, so that's Liquid. You fight Liquid more than once too.
So a bunch of fights in this game.
Yeah.
A bunch of characters to fight and give story reasons in which to do so over a sub 10-hour game.
Right.
That's a lot.
It is. There's also, if you go in the menu before you play the game, well, also the booklet explains every single character. But then if you go in the menu before you hit start, play game, whatever, there's like audio logs, tons of them, of conversations like briefing the main character about all these people.
Interesting.
Extensive shit. I'm talking like probably hours. There's VR missions you can do. There's VR missions that like teach you how to play the game before you play.
And were these in the emulation versions?
They're in every version. And they even made a VR game after this that's just like the expanded collection. You can play as the ninja. It's crazy. It was like over 300 individual missions to like help you learn how to sneak, help you learn how to use every single gun. Yeah, VR missions, look it up. I have a copy of it.
Okay, so
I actually played the fuck out of that too.
All right, so I'll say what I was thinking, and then I'm going to backtrack immediately. So bear with me. It was way too many people to keep track of and understand what the fuck was going on. Like I watched all of it and saw the cutscenes, and I'm still like, what? You know, I'm realizing now, like, okay.
Dude, imagine being fucking 10.
Like, the only person you really need to worry about, there's some you can write off. Like, all the ones that died, who gives a fuck? But you've got your Liquid, probably going to make an appearance again. Meryl will probably make an appearance in some of the other ones. And then all your codec people. And what was your helper? It was from your top 5 list. Otacon. So he'll probably come back at some point in some of these games, I assume. So those you can kind of tell while you're playing who you really need to pay attention to. But it just seemed like it was a lot of information, and you went into some of these encounters where it felt like you should have gotten some prior knowledge. Now, backtracking, it's really cool that if they've actually got these VR missions and like debriefings to make you feel like you're an espionage agent, that's actually really cool, and I missed that. And again, it's playing on like they were really trying to immerse you into this game. Let's give you a debriefing at the front. So that I missed it, but that is really cool that it was there.
And just in typical fashion, I'm pretty sure during all of the debriefing, Solid Snake is butt naked. Like, he's just sitting there, if I remember correctly, because I watched them one time, but I think he's like sitting leaned forward, and there's like shadowing over like anything that you would see. So yeah, that's Otacon. Like he's in all the games going forward. He helps you through everything. So that's like I think.
Did you look at the
PS3 maybe?
Sorry, did you look up the graphical difference between this one and the remastered Metal Gear Solid for like PS3? What a difference!
No, I didn't.
They basically just
I did. So they remade this game on GameCube as well.
I forget which one I saw, but like they redid it and they were able to make actual like round objects. So Meryl was done properly, but like, my God, the difference. It wasn't amazing, but it was a lot crisper. I actually went back and watched a few cutscenes in the newer style.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now.
Snake looked a little weird.
So yeah, well then it's confusing because they remade the game on GameCube, which would be the PS2 equivalent, using the same kind of engine as Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3. And it didn't play the same at all because there was like features in it, like you could hold people up. There were like a lot of features in the game that didn't make sense with the environment.
Right.
I don't know. It's not even worth talking about. But yeah, dude, graphics improving is a real thing.
Yeah, for sure. So, all right. I forget if I mentioned it already, but storyline wise, I just wanted to mention a few other things. I mean, again, back to the campiness that I'm assuming is, if we're using that properly, the horniness of this game. I mean, Meryl's ass could have been its own character.
It was.
I mean,
had its own codec frequency.
Yeah, it was like, all right. I mean, again, you can't do that in the games nowadays, which is sad because it's kind of like, okay, it's all in good fun, right? But you know that ain't gonna fly with games today.
No, it wouldn't. It wouldn't. I don't know. Maybe it would. Like, think of Death Stranding. They didn't have that. I guess they didn't have that type of shit.
Yeah, but if Sam was like looking at Fragile's buttons, like, oh, you got a good butt on you. Or, yeah, it's like Snake actually was like, oh, you something. You're memorable or whatever. Is like, oh, what is it? And like, no, you got a good butt. He just says you got a good butt.
I never forget a good butt or something like that.
Like, it's just, you know, it's funny and ridiculous. But anyway, the only other thing I got from the story is just like, I was saying they overused the word genes earlier. The game was just like, nukes, we got nukes, let's go get nukes, and we gotta fix the nukes and save the nukes and stop the nukes. Like that was the story. Insert like colorful character, go save the nukes or stop the nukes. Yeah. It was
save the nukes.
But and they had a ton of like, I forget, well, probably World War II like footage.
Like nuke testing footage and stuff. Yeah.
Like to a propagandist level amount of stuff. And again, well, you know, we would have been 10 years old when we played this the first time.
Dude, you're just like, what the fuck is what is this?
I mean, it was rated M back in 1998. So 10-year-old probably shouldn't have been playing it, but the reality is we were.
Dude, this game taught me how to break necks, okay?
My God. Anyway.
This game taught me to throw a right hook, a left hook, and then kick them in the face every time.
Fucking time. Like who was the fight on the elevators? Like it was just run over, run over. It was just the same fucking sound bite over and over. So I do have an issue there, but I'm sure there was a file size limit. But
dude, the ninja fight,
yes,
in the office, it's like every over
time,
and over again.
Time.
Yeah. Well, dude, also, I mean, if we're gonna talk about that, we have to mention the Ocelot fight with Baker in the middle, and he's just like on a 5-second loop.
Well, what? Do it again. It didn't come through.
He's just like, so he's sitting there tied up in the middle, presumably having stress, but he's just like over and over on a 5-second loop, just over and over again. My wife looked at me and she was like, "It's just the same sound." That's all she said. So I want to touch on one thing that I hated. Sniper Wolf part after Psycho Manus. Meryl gets gunned down, and then you have to run for 30 minutes or whatever to go get a sniper rifle.
That was unacceptable.
It is bullshit. It was so stressful when it happened.
We're not a Metroidvania game. We're not like, oh, we have areas to go back to. Like, let's keep
there was a
linear progression here. Okay.
Yeah, dude, it seemed like such an unreasonable solution to that problem. To go get a sniper rifle, like
I 100% agree.
From the building next door, literally, go. You're at Walmart and you need to go. That's a bad analogy. You're at Publix and you need to go get a sniper rifle from Walmart next door.
That's more accurate.
And then bring it back to Publix so you can get through the deli aisle. It was just such a weird solution. I don't know.
It was insane.
Not realistic at all. You would not do that. I don't know how you would handle that situation.
You got a meat shield on the floor in front of you. Just use that.
Yeah, pick her up, dude. But ridiculous. And then so you get the sniper rifle, you get tortured. How did you feel? What happened with you and getting tortured?
I think I just kept spamming the BOK button.
And did you survive? Yeah. So at the end of the game, who goes with you?
Meryl. There's other options?
Yes.
Oh.
If you die, if you submit or you don't survive the torture segment, Otacon meets you at the end because Meryl dies.
What?
And that's not the true ending of the game, obviously, because both of those characters are in the other thing. But Meryl gives you her bandana, which gives you infinite ammo on your next playthrough. And if you lose it, you get stealth camouflage.
Oh, shit.
Which was the ending I got when I was a kid. Much sadder ending. Obviously, because Meryl dies. And but yeah, kind of a cool thing. And then that encourages another playthrough of the game. So you can get both items on your third playthrough.
Oh.
And then you can also get other shit the ninja changes his suit. You can also have Snake wearing a tuxedo.
I think that's also
just weird shit.
That's also something that I don't see as often in games nowadays. And I may not be playing the right games for this, but multiple endings. And we played a few, but it's not something I see very often. And also, games that intentionally put stuff at the end to encourage you to go play again.
Encourage another playthrough. Yeah, I think God of War had New Game Plus, but in this game, the game didn't get harder. It actually got easier, but it allowed you to play in a weirder way, wearing actual stealth camouflage like the ninja and Otacon have. It's a lot
I feel like New Game Plus is just them manufacturing that from just a general system thing. I feel like New Game Plus is vastly different than what Metal Gear Solid did and how you just described it. I see them as two separate things, and I wish that I don't want New Game Plus to just be the standard. I want the game developers to say, "Oh, we're not going to do New Game Plus. We're going to say if they want you to replay a game, they do it similar to how this did. We can give you specific items, you can unlock stuff and go that route than just a blanket, oh yeah, you just keep what you had and just do it again. Nothing else changes." Right? I would prefer the Metal Gear option, while saying that if I roll credits on a game, the chances of me picking that game back up are as close as you could possibly get to 0%.
Yeah, I get that.
So should we wrap this one up?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I want to bring up one more thing. We talked about kind of the ending of it, the different endings you can get. The big plot twist with Liquid and Miller was a big thing.
Yeah.
So, and then, you also find out the DARPA chief that you spoke to was Decoy Octopus. So you later on, you find the DARPA chief again. He's in a holding cell with you or something, and he has a lot more decay than what would have happened in that time period.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And that's when you find out the DARPA chief that you spoke to they weren't able to actually get the code from him. He died. So they made Decoy Octopus pretend to be the DARPA chief to tell Snake that he did get the code to then trick him into doing the stupid key code thing with the hot cold neutral game. That was stupid. But yeah, so they that's what they end up doing. What a stupid fucking villain, Decoy Octopus.
In stupid naming conventions, I'm just now realizing this whilst recording the podcast. Why are they all fucking animal names?
I think there
Snake,
was
ocelot with 2 snakes,
gray wolf,
fucking octopus.
Gray fox.
Come on. Mantis. Who is the sniper? Raven.
Wolf.
Yeah, wolf
Raven,
and gray fox. What's with all the fucking animals?
I think
is
there
that
was
just
a
the
reason
Japanese
for it.
thing? Like Dragon Ball Z. Every like, I don't know how they break up those stories, but like every saga, I think, or every time they introduce like a new family, their family names are themed.
Dude, for some reason, I thought it was like if you took all of their names, it doesn't. But I thought it would be like an acronym if you took all their names. But I think it was like just code names, like Sniper, Wolf, Vulcan, Raven.
Okay.
Like Solid Snake. They all have like a noun and an animal or something.
Okay. I thought maybe it was like a DBZ thing.
I mean, it's pretty Japanese, dude. I think. But there's also, you get at the end of the game, you get your own code name.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, when you beat the game, you get. We should have written that down because I don't remember what mine was, but
didn't look at it.
We'll just say I got Big Boss, bro. Let's just say I got Big Boss. But that is the best rank you can get at the end of the game. I think when I first played it, it's crazy too because in order to get the best rank, you have to be discovered like less than 1 time or something, and kill very few people.
0.
You have to. Well, there are times where you get discovered, but yeah, that's what I meant. But yeah, and then there's like I think some of the only people you actually have to kill are the people in the elevator.
Yeah.
The fight with Meryl, you basically hide behind her and let her kill everybody.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's weird. That's how you get the Big Boss rank, which I've never done. So I think that kind of that's pretty much everything that we could talk about with it, right? Did you enjoy it? Like, do you like the series? Would you want to ever see things in the future from it?
Yes. So
okay, cool.
I'm not going to write this game off.
Good.
It was an early iteration of a game that I think is only going to get better. So I've checked it off my list. And
then it gets worse, but yeah, it's definitely a bell curve. I think 2 and 3 are the pinnacle of this series. Yeah. And then it goes worse, but
I can finally say I'm in the loop with Metal Gear Solid, and that feels good. So I'm glad we played it.
Cool. I'm glad you did too. I'm glad that you didn't hate it because I was convinced you'd like it, and then when I started playing it, I was like, oh, what have I done?
See, that's the thing. Everything I disliked was how it played, not the content in playing. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Like I like bowling, but I don't like swinging the ball down the thing.
I don't get it.
So that's I liked the game. I didn't like how it played. The story was fucking all over the place, and I don't know if I fully got it, but yeah,
I think you didn't because there were things that I definitely brought up that you didn't quite get.
Yeah, it was so. I thought Death Stranding was bad. Like Death Stranding gave you a lot of information over a long time to try and figure it out. Metal Gear Solid gave you a lot of stuff, but just a tiny amount of time to digest it.
Yeah, they've improved storytelling a lot over the years for this like type of game. But okay, sure. Yeah,
awesome.
What you got next, bro? What's you want to talk about that?
Finally done with the James season of games.
Fuck you.
Fucking God. So we are going to be playing next Firewatch.
Yeah.
Nice little
back to Alec, dude.
Back to me. We're gonna get this shit going. So No, it's from what I've looked at, it's a little walking simulator kind of game. Low stakes. Looks relaxing, so I think we're gonna give that a go. Hopefully, make something.
Yeah.
Make space for bigger games later on. So very, very excited. But yeah, we're gonna do Firewatch next. I think that's gonna do it for us. Should we sign out?
Yeah, man. Yeah, that sounds good. Just thanks for listening, everybody. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram and shit, TikTok, X, Patreon. There was a little live stream last night I saw on
oh my god, I
Twitch.
was playing around with it just to see if it would work. I'm pretty sure for the first 30 minutes of the 45 minutes I streamed, my mic wasn't actually enabled and the game audio wasn't coming through. So
Perfect.
It is as
perfect.
Well as you can imagine a first time stream on Twitch going. It was even worse than that. So it was great. It was great. I'm glad it went well. I think I got one viewer at one point, and I'm pretty sure it was you because I texted you. So good stuff. So yeah, check us out on the stuffs. That's it for us, guys. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Anyway, how did you recognize me in disguise?
I never forget a lady.
So there's something you like about me, huh?
Yeah, you got a great butt.
Butt? Oh, I see. First it's my eyes, now it's my butt. What's next?
On the battlefield, you never think about what's next.